Hey, so I'm Gwen, and we are finishing a silk favor. And I love doing them very personally. So I have my blue heron, and then since I'm a queen, I have a rose, and I'm making it all together. Kind of working in very traditional gutta. Totally stinks, hard to clean up, best stuff ever, really, really like it. And the gutta is a solvent-based rubber product. You look down here, all of this is super shiny. It's very, very wet, very, very delicate. You want to just let this sit. These whole silk favors are up on blocks. So they are about an inch-ish off of the table. And I'm going to let all this dry for at least 24 hours before I do dang thing with it, because I need to color all these teeny tiny little parts, kind of like a stained glass window. So we've been doing silk fibers, which are really, really fun. And we've already done gutta. We have already outlined them. We've let that gutta dry for like 24 hours. And now we are putting silk paint on inside all of the areas we want. And if the camera can come down, so one of the most awesome things about silk paint is how it really, I don't know if you can see this, but it soaks in and disperses throughout any tiny little area that you have corralled. So as long as your gutta lines are really, really good, they will hold the dye and keep it only in the spot that you want, which is how you get all this great shading. There's some areas that have some light and dark, and that's after I've let the silk paint dry, and then I go back and do a second coat. And then everything here that you see actually has to be fixed, which is usually a steam bath for this particular kind of silk paint. There are other ways, but usually it's a super careful wrap-up job. You gotta steam it for about 3 hours, make sure that it has moist heat without getting wet, which is the fun part of doing silk. So we'll catch you in after the next process. So when you fix the dye by steam, the idea is to get super, super hot, moist heat without actually getting any water dripping onto my silk, because anytime drips get on here, it will bleed like all crazy get out, and then you end up being a little bit unhappy. So this is regular cotton. It has been washed, so it's got stains on it, but it's actually doesn't have anything on it that will bleed onto my silk. And basically I'm going to make a sandwich. So the idea is to encase your silk with either tissue paper, or in this case we're going to use a simple muslin that I have already washed. I use it multiple times because I do this often enough that having these on hand makes sense. So we're really just going to encase this, and you've got a couple different folds. We're going to do more than one. So I'm going to have one encased here, and then I'm going to have another one encased, and then we're going to steam them at the same time in a pot. So if you need help, you know, hi, how you doing? So much extra help. Loves all the fabric. Hey, you're in my way. Yes, you. Scooch. Scooch. Yes, I love you. Yes, you're so happy. Oh, what are you going to do? This is going to be in my bundle. So, all right. Now I need string, actually. So can you find me some string? I need string. Okay, you don't need super fancy equipment. You basically need like a little steamer colander, and you need a pot, and you need water, and you need a heat source, and you need some time because it takes about 3 hours to babysit something like this. And if you want to look on the inside of the camera, there's my water. There's everything that's keeping all of my silk out of the water. Well, arrange them like that. And then put the lid on. Okay, so lids 101, when you don't have a perfect steamer. One of the things you probably noticed is this lid, when all of the steam comes up and condenses on top of the lid, when it's turned under, it's going to end up dripping because of the shape right onto all of my silk. And I noticed that, and I'm like, not so good. So what we've actually done is switched to a domed clear glass one, and the reason it's domed is that all of the drips will run to the side and run to the edge, which is perfectly fine. And what I want, and plus, now we can see. So Tavi and I are very interested in what happened. He's like, what are we doing? We have steamed all of our lovely packages. These are the packages that we wrapped up for the silk favors, and they've been steaming for hours and hours and hours, and I have let it cool. And we're going to open this up and see how we did. This is... We're going to try and keep it dry. So supposedly there should be, if anything transferred, you can see I've got little dots. If any color transferred, it transferred onto the surrounding fabric. So you can see where it's bled out a little bit. But this is a fantastic, fantastic transfer. So the material did its job. It caught any extra fabric that bled. The colors have really become more brilliant and deeper. So after they're fixed, you have a much better product. They look dull when they first go in, and after they get fixed, they're like this. So I will go ahead and iron this with a little bit of, basically put one last little finish on it, press it out, and then I will actually wash it. We have something called Synthropol. You can get it Dharma Trading, lots of different places. It's a chemical that removes any dye that is not chemically bonded to the silk. And then after that, you're all set. So, ta-da! So we are steaming this last little bit. This has come out of the dye bath, or the steam bath. Hitting it with an iron. Now once these are all done, it depends on the type of paint that you have. Some of the paints you can dry clean, and some of the paints you can hand wash. It just depends on which kind of silk paint that you used. I used a kind that will withstand water but will not withstand dry cleaning, which is fine because I don't think any of the fighters that I'm going to give this to are going to be dry cleaning this anytime soon. This will probably be something that they'll just wash and go. You know, if it gets dirty, they can just hand wash it and life is easy. So you got one. And it's all beautiful. It's also really awesome because it goes all the way through and it's double-sided. We're going to do the next set. People often ask me, oh my stars, don't you need to have, like, I don't know, some kind of separation between the silk and the iron? And the answer is no, not as long as you've got wet, super moist heat coming out. So you can, of course, scorch silk, but this is on steam setting, so it'll be okay. That last little piece. Okay, so these are them. At least two of the few that I've been doing, and really fun. You should totally use them.